Welcome to another episode of Exploring the Vintage NFT Space podcast with Zero G. Today, I'm excited to have back with me Blackstar.
Hello, sir. I'm very delighted to be here again.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to chatting with you. I'm calling this episode like the bear market breakdown or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's been about a year since we talked last, and I mean, I think that we are probably no financial advice given and blah blah blah. Do your own research, all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I kind of feel that if we're not at the bottom, we're within the final like 20%, because of how crazy and brutalized the historics have been, over the past couple of years. So it's really an interesting it's been an interesting space too to watch since we last talked. We've seen um, we've seen the ordinal stuff blow up, and we've also seen a change in a sea change in some of these like market and narrative around some of the big collections. Like we're finally starting to see the animal PFP thing. Like um, like we're finally seeing things like cool cats. I think are below like 1F. Um, we finally see bored apes breaking down significantly below punks. Um, it's been a we've seen several other mini markets like come and go. Like I think we're at the like one of the dumbest ones I've seen in a long time is the within ordinals they have these like BRC 20 tokens. So it's about the most insane shitcoin thing I've ever seen. And I think or I hope that we're seeing that die off now. It had a big run up a few weeks ago. But
Yeah.
it's been a while since we chatted. So what kind of stuff have you been up to in the last year? Is there what have you been paying attention to? What's been most notable for you?
Well, a lot of stuff that we talked about, I don't know when it was exactly. It was a couple of months, maybe a year. I don't know. But a lot of the stuff we talked about and that we foresaw for the future actually are happening right now, right? So all the VC stuff, all the hype stuff is dying down, dying hard, and bored apes are like free falling right now, and yeah, people the yeah the hype people are slowly fading out, right? And what I have been doing is like nothing really has changed in my from my thesis from the vintage thesis perspective, and I have been doing what I planned to do back then, and that was like getting more stuff and accumulating at the very bottom. And I plan to do that as well because I still want some stuff in my collection. And apart from that, attending I have attended some real life conferences and to see the sentiment there as well, to observe
Yeah,
how
that's
it should.
fascinating. What did you pick up from talking to people at these conferences?
Well, what struck me the most was that like the vintage thesis makes more sense with people outside of the NFT space than with people who actually own NFTs, right? So when you talk to them about old stuff, scarce stuff, rare stuff on the blockchain, and we think that's going to be valuable, and we call them digital antiques. They say, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense," and like everyone agrees on that. It's like common sense, but it looks like that common sense is actually not that common, and especially in the NFT space, and people are very like emotionally tied. A lot of them got lucky in the bull run and think that they have like this magic touch or this magic um yeah style of finding the next big thing, right?
Yeah,
And
when you could back then you could pretty much mint
yeah,
almost anything that had any hype and you would make money, you know.
yes, exactly, exactly. And I mean, it's the same. Like the fool thinks that he's a genius, right? Because of this one time or two times or maybe more. But it's all bull run, right? Every idiot can do money and does make money in the bull run. But the question is if he is destined, or if he is like if he has the what's it called, uh responsibility to hold it, right? Because a
Yeah,
lot of people, they make a lot of money, but they are not responsible enough to keep the money, and then they will naturally lose it, right?
yeah.
So money and the markets, they always find their way to people who either build fundamental value or who invest into fundamental values, right?
Well,
And
yeah, because especially like, you know, what you were talking about, people who made a lot of money in the bull, like if they aren't self-aware enough to step back and realize that that strategy, like the strategies that they use don't survive in other market conditions, then yeah, they just will continue to either bleed out or those hold bags that essentially will go down to zero. I mean, that's what we're seeing with a lot of the, like even the highest profile collections. I remember being kind of astounded at how much they were deifying this guy. I never really like dug into it, but like the guy behind Moonbirds, like made it
yeah,
seem like he was some sort of super genius that, you know, was like this is like a sure thing, and then they, you know, they were caught, you know, manipulating the market for their own NFT.
yeah,
But I think those are around an F now, and I think the high was around 40.
yeah.
So
40 and like Ethereum at 3,000 or something,
yeah,
right? So they were at like six figures at one time. Yeah, and the thing is that like Moonbirds, they are at I think they are below mint price now. Doodles are also at like point. They're also down 89, 98%, right? World of Women down bad. Cool Cats down bad. Everything, right? Everything is down bad. And the only stuff that is like when you go to OpenSea, you go to top collections, right? You see Bored Apes, you see Azuki, and you see D-Gods, right? And then you
yeah,
also see like stuff like Milady, which is which is different, right? They don't pretend that they build something, right?
yeah.
They actually say, okay, we are just a cult, a token gated cult, and we have like a lot of mental health problems and gambling addictions, but we don't we don't try to convince other people that we actually build some fundamental value,
Yeah,
right?
there's no promise. You know,
There's no
it
promise. Yeah.
literally is just the token. You know,
Yes, yes. And like Azuki and D-Gods, I try like I also met some people who are like fans of that brand. Of
mm-hmm.
course they are, because they hold and they have the bias. And yeah, we still have the same, like they haven't delivered anything. They haven't done any product at all. It's always the same. It's the same scheme, right? You have a profile picture, then you pump the price, and then you make a second profile picture
Yeah,
for, so you get like a lower entry into the ecosystem, right?
yeah, uh-huh.
And then you get another one and another one. That's what Yuga Labs did, and they have
Yeah.
now I think 12 or 13 independent collections. Um,
I don't even understand, like, because I'm not like big in their ecosystem. I don't even understand a lot of the stuff that they have now. They have like codas, and I don't know what that is.
yeah,
They
I don't
have,
know either. I don't know either. It's all Fugazi, right?
yeah,
It's all Fugazi, and yeah, what it inevitably boils down to is that they cannot make more, because every collection they airdrop will have a lower floor price
mm-hmm.
naturally, right? And now it gets to the point where like the lowest entry is like zero point 0.2 on like some on Yuga related
Mm-hmm.
or Yuga issued NFTs, and now it's over, right? That's why Bored Apes is crashing right now, because they cannot continue this scheme. That was the only thing that that generated volume, right? Or mint.
I think the other thing too, though, is that it was which a lot of these collections, like the hype and the thing that sustained, like and captivated newbies into paying this, is they all had a story with a vision and a roadmap, right? Well, now
Yeah,
like we're seeing that I'm assuming that Yuga's still trying to develop their metaverse or game or whatever, but I've always from the beginning said that that's more of a liability in relying on a promise than not having that. And that's another strength of the historic stuff is we don't have to like all the founders and stuff are already essentially rugged and or the dev work's already done. There's
yeah,
no. But yeah, that's where I just still even with whatever collect part of their collection is point two, I still think it's a huge risk that kind of like with the old ICO tokens. Well,
yeah,
even if they develop something, I still haven't played an online Web3 game that I would actually pay money for, thought was fun, right?
yeah,
So they could still like on paper meet their goal, but it would be lame and no one would use it too, right? I
yeah.
mean, they even have like a token based around all this. There's so much stuff. Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's not looking good.
Not
I
looking
wouldn't
good.
bet on it.
Yeah, and I mean now what is also very interesting is that these people, they when they sell, right, they rotate into other stuff that have the same propositions, right?
Yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
the same vapor, the same Fugazi, the same
Yeah.
Ponzi, right? Azuki, for example, which
That
is
I'm astounded that thing is still. I mean, I
yeah,
figured it'd be like Cool Cats or something where it'd be like one
yeah.
F. That's amazing.
But Azuki at 17 ETH is it's impressive, right? It's impressive how long they are holding it up and pretend that they actually did anything because they haven't done anything, right? And the guy, the creator, his name is Zagabond. He's actually a serial NFT scammer and rugger. Like he made several projects before Azuki, and he made like hundreds of millions or something, and then he made Azuki, right? So I can promise you, and I can also prove that the buy and sell activity is also heavily manipulated, right?
Yeah, I saw that they were actually there's believe it or not, there's professional services where you can pay to have basically to have them be a market maker and goose the price and
Yeah, yeah.
and I and that was one of the projects that there was a service that does that they were I think bragging about doing that for Azuki. I mean, which I mean, hey, if that's the case, I mean, it's money well spent because like
Yeah.
there's no inherent like again everyone
This,
can like what they like. I mean, so
yeah.
if you're really into Azuki, like don't take this personally, but the art's to me personally the art is not impressive at all.
No,
And I like there's no inherent value. Again, you're
no.
like this isn't some magical like you're not going to get like you know a car for holding this thing. Like there's no benefits other than like for being part of essentially like you were saying like with Milady like being part of an online cult, but
Yeah.
like you're not getting anything out of having an Azuki other than having a bad PFP. So
Yeah.
if number like I can guarantee you as soon as a number starts going down, they're not going to look anywhere near as good to the holders.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I have in my Discord, I think I had like 10 people reach out
Mhm.
to me and ask, well, we can make your Discord more lively, we can make more chatter. Like you I would basically pay them so the Discord appears that there's a lot of activity, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
people who get in have their hopes up and think, well, this project is really something because like every second there's someone posting about it, right?
Mhm.
So this is also a paid service. What you can also do is you can buy Twitter engagement, right?
Yeah.
You can
Mhm.
buy listeners, you can buy bots that buy that You can buy likes and everything. And it is like I said, they try this to lure in people with real buys, right? So they hope that someone really buys an Azuki for 17 ETH, and someday it will implode as well, right? It's just
Yeah, I mean,
it's the nature
again,
of the
like
beast.
there's nothing like there's no reason that Azuki should. I mean, there's no reason it should be worth anything, but
Yeah,
17 in the scheme of the greater NFT market, it's definitely an aberration, you know.
yeah, and yeah, and on the other side, like on the vintage side, we have seen a lot of accumulation, um, not only from myself but from other people as well. Like Mooncats, very thin floor. Ethereum, very thin, like almost no sellers, right? A lot
Yeah,
of counterparty stuff, no or hardly a few sellers. So
yeah, I'm seeing that across rare pepes too, where prices are down, but prices are down enough to where it's discouraged sellers. Where a lot of stuff it's become even more liquid than it was before because now the few people that have it, unless they really need the loot, they're just not selling. So
yeah,
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 I mean, I think Ethereum is a really good example, though. That's always been a really like it's always been a thin market, but now it's become essentially like unless you have a lot of money to throw around, like it's luck at this point and patience. I feel I so for as an example, as we're recording this in the middle of 2023, like I was lucky enough to get a Ethereum 1.2 tile for around 3F this year, which I thought was one of the which I was super stoked about getting because I always thought I was going to be priced out of the Ethereum and the 1.2 version for
yeah,
because at its peak after the rediscovery, I think the floor got up to either 40 or 60 F, and I mean, so to be able to just get a tile, regardless of price, is to me, I think a big deal. And to be able to have seen some of these tiles trade so low is incredible. But there's essentially, if you look on these different marketplaces, there's like below 10F right now. There's probably 5 tiles listed. I'm guessing. I mean,
yeah,
there's across all versions. It's super thin.
yeah. And I mean, that's just the power. That's the power of real community, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
the power of fake Fugazi community that is just where
Yeah,
everyone is just there for their self-interest, right?
yeah, no one's like Cyrus isn't paying some bullshit market making company to to pump up the volume
Yeah,
like a shit coin, you know.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm a we are all like big believers in the technology, right? And we know what's going to happen, right? And we will say, well, I told you so, I told you so. All the people that faded it, and it's just a matter of time. I posted, I think last week or something. I posted we are halfway there,
Yeah,
for my opinion, because I have been in crypto since 2016, so I have some kind of feeling
yeah,
from where we are in bull bear perspective. And I think we are like now, we will have like a summer high in Bitcoin. And this is also what I predicted. I don't know if I said it actually in the interview, but I said that early 2023 we will have a pump
yeah.
till summer, uh, and then we will have a summer top, and then we will bleed out again till winter, and then next year things will bubble up again, and then we will have like real adoption in 2024, 2025, where Bitcoin really like pumps again, goes for new highs.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't think that the market's really ready to make a sustained move higher yet. I think the other thing, like we've had the news that they're like now even BlackRock and some of these other big mega entities are submitting for ETFs and whatnot, and
Yeah,
like people are viewing this super bullishly for Bitcoin, and at this I personally think that they're like, you have to have a little bit more familiarity with the market to understand that that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
So the mega banks and these in partnership with the like ETFs and whatnot, they've gone out of their way to manipulate the precious metals markets with futures and ETFs and everything. So
Yeah.
this is another opportunity to have essentially paper Bitcoin supply out there. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I think I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised as after all of the initial hype, if I think it would be healthy to see a divergence between these paper ETF prices and the actual on-chain coin. Because but these all these banks have been the mega banks have been convicted and fined for fraud for many
Yeah.
times over. I mean, what they've done with, again, precious metals as an example is actual criminal.
Yeah.
It is criminal, but they've been busted. So to think that they won't try and play the same games with the crypto is, I think, naive. And
It's naive. Yeah.
the other aspect, I guess, I'd leave off at that is that they're part of why they were able to manipulate the precious metals markets for so long is that they were doing that in partnership and at the behest of the central banks. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible to imagine the central banks asking the mega banks to help them goose the price of crypto down, like on certain new, that's what they do. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised that if central banks actually embrace crypto
mhm.
and there's like some kind of transformation going, that they slowly also like open themselves up. Because if Bitcoin would really be a threat,
Mhm.
they would have killed all people associated to it. They would have banned mining worldwide, right? They would destroy every mining facility, and they will like ban everything Bitcoin related from the internet, right?
Well, I think what they've done is they've done social attacks on Bitcoin. So, like I suspect things like Craig, I forget how you pronounce
Like,
his last
right.
name, Craig Wright. Yeah. I think that he could definitely have been sponsored by banks or whatever to essentially be a bad agent to cause chaos in the try and try and cause chaos in the Bitcoin scene, right? I mean, he's sued a ton of people, and yeah, you could also argue that the way the development for Bitcoin has been centralized under Bitcoin Core and
Yeah.
Blockstream is like there's ties to major banks and whatnot. So how like how far you want to like dig into that and what you believe, that's one other thing, but there are ties to that, and Bitcoin itself, the development is 100% centralized underneath core.
Yeah.
So so it's the social aspect that I think they've attacked Bitcoin in mainly. I guess my other worry is that because it's centralized, they've essentially haven't done any efforts for on-chain scaling, and it's been since 2017. And I also, which is worrying to me. I do think that we still need um, to scale the chain up a little bit. I mean, this is up for debate. What would be the right choice in terms of numbers? But I guess my other worry is that we just saw news. What was it last week, where there's some researchers found a thousand times more efficient way of using quantum computers for factoring the breaking ECC, which is the cryptography that um, Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything else uses to secure ownership, right?
Yeah.
So my other worry is that not only are they going to essentially continue to stagnate the capacity for transactions, but they're going to refuse to actually implement an updated signature scheme and the other changes that would be necessary to make Bitcoin resilient against the upcoming, the development of quantum computers.
Yeah,
So
I hope till then I have filled my bags and or unloaded everything.
yeah, I mean, and again, to me, it actually is worrying.
Yeah,
So it's one of the few things that yeah, exactly. If I like, if things continue the way they are, I'll like Ethereum. At least they're trying to. It's on their roadmap to get quantum resistant. I mean,
yeah,
it's a big task. But if Bitcoin doesn't do it, then I like you, I might be forced to get out of my Bitcoin stuff. As a self
yeah, maybe.
preservation thing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see eventually. But I like for now I'm unbothered. I'm uh
Yeah.
I'm in my lane, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like the stuff that you can, I think people are going to be really salty in a few years, especially during the next bull when they realize how cheap some of these grails are right now.
Yeah.
You know, um,
Yeah, I
I was
hope
look,
I hope I hope it will be a lot of new people, right?
yeah,
I hope it will be a lot of people who are a lot more intelligent, right?
hmm
And who get it because these people they do exist, right? They do actually exist, and like I met so many great people from the digital art
hmm
world that came into NFTs, and like it's like my second passion as well.
hmm
Like we have the vintage NFTs and we have digital art, and I became like a very passionate collector as well.
hmm
And I like if you had asked me 3 years ago, I would never believe that I will be like an antiques and art collector. Yes, that's what I am, right?
yeah,
Antiques and art, yes. Um, and it's all digital, right? It's all like
yeah.
this spiritually electric, like new technology. It's like cyber. It's crazy, really, if you think about it. You could never explain that to someone from like 30 years ago.
Oh yeah. I also another aspect that to me is really fascinating is that we're essentially able to like capture these like technological milestones in crypto history, which again, even if Bitcoin doesn't survive, and long term, even if Ethereum doesn't make it, crypto is here to stay.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone can argue that. I think we even had our Federal Reserve chairman essentially say that. I believe was it him or Gensler? They said in public in a one of the meetings that that crypto as an asset class is here to stay. Well, yeah, it took you guys long enough to admit it, right? So
yeah, yeah. They just had to admit it. They already knew it,
yeah,
right? They
uh-huh.
already knew it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just interesting. I think it's going to be fun to watch how this plays out in the coming years. I mean, I like what happens to the price of Ethereum and Bitcoin. Like I can't predict the price on that. I would be surprised if they're not much higher in the next bull run. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
I mean,
I
it,
think
it's
that Bitcoin it won't like we saw it with this bull run, right? People
mhm,
said, "Oh, 100,000, 200,000." And now it went to like 69
mhm,
or nine, yeah, 69. And so the next bull run we might go to 100,000, right?
mhm.
And then we stabilize at I don't know 50 or so, so it's
Yeah,
like it flattens out a little bit. It's
mhm,
not the most of the upside I think has already been captured
yeah,
for Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin is for example at 50,000, it's only a 20x for a million,
mhm.
right? And it's only like a 20x is not it's not a lot in crypto, and you have way
That's
a lot
true.
of yeah, yeah. I mean, if Bitcoin goes to 100K, we will have 1,000x coins. We have
Mhm,
100x coins everywhere, and it's all about identifying them and being patient. And yeah, I think all vintage stuff, like long term, will 1000x as well.
I mean, like
1000x.
there's certain things that again they're frustratingly obvious right now. Like, like I really the I really am blown away with like Etheria. Like if you can get a tile being so cheap right now,
Yeah,
the total supply is under what, like 4,000, like across all versions
yeah,
for
1828.
yeah, for like, and not even just the fact that it's like one of the very first NFTs on ETH, which is amazing, but the complex, like what you can do with it, it's an amazing project. And
Yeah,
I don't know, it's I don't know, it's like there's more houses in a single like podunk small town than there are for like tiles of Ethereum
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
people can own
Exactly,
across the world.
exactly. That's what I always think, right? I think I go when I go into to my town, and I go
Mm-hmm.
to the center, and I see all these people, all these tourists and everything. I was
Mm-hmm.
like just a little percentage of them can are able to hold Ethereum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the the technicalities behind Ethereum are also like they're unmatched,
Yeah.
right? And I think if you want to build it like right now, it will, I don't know how much ETH it will cost to just put everything on chain,
Yeah.
right? Because like 95 or 96% of all aspects of Ethereum are on chain, right? And it was like one of the first D apps, right? It was,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's
Yeah.
older than MetaMask, older than Etherscan. It was like written on the command line. I don't know how, what
I
kind of
get, yeah,
magic. Yeah,
it blows me away too, because like how you traditionally imagine, if you've ever done computer stuff, like generally most people start out with hello world, and what instead like we have as essentially the first like really traded NFT, you know um outside of essentially there was a test contract for like a copy paste named contract. But
yes,
outside of that, like instead of deploying Hello World, like Cyrus developed this. I mean, which is incredible. I still haven't seen another F. I mean, maybe they're out there, but I haven't seen anything like close to this on Ethereum, like
yeah,
in 2023.
yeah. I think that the next, and when it comes to innovation, the next one, in my opinion, would be Mooncats,
Yeah.
because Mooncats, they're also they were generated in a generative way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have like a generative algorithm, and then you had to mine them,
Yeah,
right? So this is the crazy part, right? So
I
the
know.
process of generation was
It's
through
funny.
mining.
I was lucky enough to mine a few, and like for example, like you could like it had a little GUI, and it would like spit up one that you could like when you mine one, you can choose to quote unquote rescue it, or you can
Yes,
essentially throw it back, and you can. So I
yes,
I wanted a blue one at like in when I was claiming, so I threw several back in a row until I got a blue one that I liked. I mean,
yeah,
it was such a rad project.
yeah, and I mean, it's also like the supply is 2,545.
Yeah.
No, 25,440. Yeah, and it's not a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's not a lot, and it's also OG pixel art. It is the project that came next in line to Punks, and it's like it has the perfect it has all the perfect narratives, right? It only has one contract, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
that's another great
yes,
thing to bring up, is that so many of these projects on Ethereum, again, because it was cheap and it was early, people instead of like like test like building first on one of the test nets, they just did all their like R&D on mainnet. So you'd have all
yes,
these like working like alternate contracts that, makes it a lot more complicated for a lot of things. But yeah, that's a great point, is that there's not like there's not like four versions of Mooncats contracts out
yeah.
there. So
Yes, and I mean, in the case of Ethereum, it's like it's a multiverse, right? It's a multiverse, and it's a process of refining the project. So yeah, it's interesting to see how collectors deal with the objective reality of these projects, right? And I think it's not a problem at all that projects have multiple contracts.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of perspective, right? We see it with punks. We see actually a lot of people who a lot more people who went into V1 punks, right? And it makes sense. It makes sense why. Where I would disagree is that I don't think that punks are the most innovative or most important collection from that era, right? They are
Yeah.
the ones that are priced the highest. But I think that there are better deals out there, and that's why I wouldn't want to buy a V1 over anything else from that era, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so a lot of people assume that NFTs will only stay at the level of this is my avatar on Twitter,
Yeah.
right? They cannot, well, they don't understand like all the technical implications,
Mm-hmm.
right? What it really can do. Like we haven't even scratched the surface. So in the new bull run, which will probably be fueled with something else um, than PFPs,
Yeah.
people will set they will look back and they will say, well, why would I care about punks, right? You can't even play with them,
Yeah.
you can't even customize them, right? It's the same why, for example, people neglected punks when CryptoKitties got so
Mm-hmm.
um so popular. Why would I get these ugly uh punks, right? You cannot even breed them. How am I going to make money off them, right? So it all boils down in the long term. It all boils down to the objective, verifiable facts that the blockchain can provide. And yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting too. Like you said, the PFP narrative. I mean, like we only have a couple collections left that maintain any meaningful value, like in
yeah,
at least in a financial sense. So,
yeah.
we have like punks and I guess Azuki and Bored Apes yet, but
And
yeah, I
gods,
mean,
the gods.
I
Yeah,
forget about those. But I agree though, like if you're you can be into this stuff for more than one reason. Like you can be like buying this stuff to like you see a long-term potential and you want to make money, or you want to just collect. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think there's a ton of deals from that era that are like that are really interesting that you can get cheaper. Like one of the ones that I really like, I thought was fun, was Crypto Titties. It was like the first, it was like one of the first one where the sales of the NFTs, a portion of that went to charity, and low supply. Um, it's not early 2018, so I thought that was a fun one too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I
I
mean,
know
there's a ton of cool stuff out there. Like people just get really fixated on punks,
yeah,
So
on the current thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's the
It's
meta,
all
right?
narrative. It's all
Yeah,
narrative. And when one narrative dies down, the next narrative arrives. There's always something that you
it's
can
like
like bite onto.
it's like that Gen Art bubble that I think we still have, but I think it's gotten a little bit better. Is I even saw someone joking about it as well, those Fidenzas looked a lot better at $1 million than they did at like 60,000 or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
it's the price adds value, right? So
Yes.
that
Yes.
like so these it's interesting to see how these narratives will survive or die.
Yeah.
So
What I find very interesting was this goose, that this
oh
ringer
yeah,
and that got sold at Sotheby's. which was interesting because the like it was sold from a fund, from the
Uh-huh.
Three Arc Capital Fund.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
they were funded by FTX, and FTX used stolen customer funds, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So they bought these generative art pieces with stolen money,
Yeah.
and the guy who bought it from them at the auction, who's also a famous Twitter NFT guy, 6529
Oh
or
yeah.
something,
Hmm.
he also was funded by FTX with yeah, for over $20 million. Like
Oh.
he got $20 million for his NFT fund, and
Oh.
then he pumped and dumped his meme
Uh-huh.
card collection or whatever,
Yeah.
and then he bought. I mean, the chances are that he also runs this Three Arc Capital Fund as well. So maybe he just bought his own NFT at
Well,
the
it's interesting. The guy who ran the fund for Three Arrows Capital was Vincent Van Doe,
yeah
who acquired a bunch of this stuff. But to your point, though, is essentially we had all this hot money, like you know some of the stuff they acquired is terrible. Like I
yeah
looked at the Three Arrows portfolio. They actually had some just straight up trash in there, but they did have some impressive stuff. But to your point, though, is that it appears that a lot of like it's just this hot money like circle essentially, where the only reason some of this stuff is like quote unquote worth so much is that hot money was used to buy it. So we like if
yes
more hot money is still the buyer at the other end, like what would be the fair value without like people trade using other people's money, right?
yeah
So um
yeah, and I mean I was
I
always
mean,
suspicious, and
yeah, I also thought is like you, I never really thought the his like meme collection was really like that great, but people like really got hyped into it, and I'm assuming he probably made a boatload off that,
yeah
you know.
yeah, it was like it was trash, to be honest. It was complete trash. It like it's a friend of mine. He called everything that was happening like a cartel, the
Yeah,
NFT cartel,
yeah,
right? That controls fucking everything, all the narratives on Twitter, all
yeah.
the price action on
Mhm.
OpenSea, everything. And yeah, the day will come when it's all over, and then we will rise from the ashes.
I mean, it's not like I'm even arguing that the generative art isn't valuable or isn't cool or anything like that, but it's
Yeah, it
kind of
is
like
cool.
yeah, it's like we were talking about last time. Another one of the things we were talking about as a prediction was that we were right in the middle, like pretty close to the top of that ENS number bubble, you know,
Yeah.
and that has cratered too. I can pull up see what the price on those is, but that it was like my argument back then is not that all ENS like isn't valuable or should you know shouldn't be worth anything. It's that
Yeah.
the pull it up. The 10K club, is that it? No. Oh yeah, okay. No, that's the anyway. But it's that you have to be more like only certain things are going to maintain value. And I just like the Videnzas I saw when those came out, and I thought they were cool, but not. I don't know. I just think that, like you're saying, a lot of this was manipulated in terms of that's happened in pretty much all big collections. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a like Fidenzas, they pumped to $1 billion market cap within a month or something,
yeah.
right? Just straight up. Straight up. Why? I don't know.
So
I
here,
don't know.
as we're talking, the 999 club, which is like three-digit ENS, is hovering around 8.5 F.
Eight, eight and a half?
Yeah, 8.5 F, which is higher than I thought. But
Yeah, yeah. How's the action, the price action, like the liquidity?
there's only like there's not a ton listed below. there's only like up to 10eth. There's only, three below 10, but
Okay.
and there's not a ton of listings, but I again, like we were talking about last time, like that whole thing was a narrative, and like, hey, maybe some of these guys really do believe in that, and it's ride or die for them. But
Yeah.
it to me, I don't like, at the time it was almost parity with punk prices, and or you could have bought like probably close to a Nakamoto or something. I
Yeah.
mean, like
Yeah.
the value just doesn't make sense to me. But
Yeah.
again, if for people who are big into that, no offense to you guys, but just not my bag.
Yeah. I mean, it, I I I was talking with a friend of mine.
Mhm.
He said everyone buys at the price he deserves, and everyone sells at the price he deserves, right? And he calls it yes, and he calls it economic Darwinism, right? And it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense, yes. And like it's true. It's true. Like the weak guys they get eaten, right? The strong guys they persist, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's the way it is. It's like the market is a reflection of nature. It's a reflection of life.
yeah. I mean, and it's you can look at it like that. Essentially, you have like during that last bull run, you had all these people who like were buying all this stuff with no plan, like, but a lot of them had like still had the idea that even though they didn't have a plan, they'd make money somehow off of this or continue accruing value. But
Yeah.
you know I mean, it's like in the trading circles. You have to have uh you know a plan and a strategy in order to like win long term. Like you said, you
Yeah.
can make a couple scalps and a couple big wins and think you're a hero, and then a lot of people who do that, they end up getting chopped up and blowing up. There's tons of people who've even big names who've blown up after a couple, a year or two of success.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's if you're like if it's a daily thing. I mean, I trade as well, right?
Mhm.
Um, it is it sometimes can be stressful, right? But in the end, it's all about. I mean, it should never consume your whole life, right? It should never. It can be or it should be like a part of your life, right? Your
Yeah.
work. Like I consider all of this is my work, and but apart from that, you should have like other stuff that you are focused on, right? Your health, your family, your other goals, right? Real life goals, friends, relationships, everything. And this shouldn't consume everything. And if it consumes everything, you are at a very high risk of losing everything as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that has forced a lot of people to get wrecked too, is we saw during the, well, not just during the bull, but even throughout the bear, we've had some big people that take leverage, even using their NFTs, like collateralizing that and taking out loans. And I mean, it's like you said, it is economic Darwinism. If
Yeah.
you screw up, you blow up and no one's coming to save you. So,
Yeah. No one is going to save you. No one. I mean, maybe in the relic space, if someone like gets hacked or something, I bet
yeah.
that we will help each others out, right? Because it's when a lot of people help with a small amount, it can make a big difference. And but yeah, I mean, we will see at the end who will win the race, right? And I think that we will win the race, and that people they will look back at this interview or at your videos or at our chats, right, or Discord chats, and they will say, how did I miss this? How wasn't that so obvious, right? And yeah, have fun till then.
I
Yes,
think so.
yes.
I think so too, man. I think it's going to be, um, I think it's going to be a real wake up call to look back on this in 3 or 5 years and see just where the space is at. I One thing I'm kind of curious to see how it evolves is the VR stuff. It'll be I'm hoping that I played with one of the OG Oculus Rifts back in the day, and I want to get one of the newer headsets sometime soon, and I'm going to be curious to see how the VR space evolves and if there's any meaningful integration with crypto because
Hmm.
I had a really interesting chat with a guy I know who spent quite a bit of time exploring the current metaverse scene, and it's not. I thought it was really fascinating, is the sense that essentially in the metaverse scene, no one's using the centralized platforms like Facebook developed or
Yeah,
anything like that. No one's using that. Like what people are using by far is things like I think not WeChat. It's like Face Chat or something like that. I forget.
yeah,
But one thing I thought was interesting is talking to him about that is that like in those communities, no one uses crypto. Like they're using like Cash App or PayPal or whatever. They
yeah,
haven't like it's not mature enough to where they haven't built in the tool work to have like crypto and NFT integration because that's like this is the like one of the most slam dunk things you can do where like hey you can token gate like a door in your private metaverse thing where only people who've hold a token can get to your private area, that type
yeah,
of thing. I mean it's and having a QR code or a link for payments for XYZ. I mean there it's super obvious, but it's just so immature yet that we're not there. But I would imagine that we'll have some options where there's some maturity with that integration because that is to me it seems like one of the most compelling ways to utilize that.
yeah. I mean, it is. I think that we will have a complete, like a different, a second reality, basically, with
Mm-hmm.
these VR stuff. So
Yeah.
we have movement, we have worlds, because like you can turn your head through 360. You can
Mm-hmm.
walk, right? I saw like some some builds where you can like run, but you are still on place, but it feels like you're running
Oh,
uh,
okay. Uh-huh.
for real in the metaverse. There was a guy who played like GTA 5
Oh, no way.
on VR, yeah, and he was like running down the street and then climbing a ladder and everything. And yeah, and then we will have like the digital monetization, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cash in form of cryptocurrency. And then we will have digital objects,
Mm-hmm.
right? In form of NFTs. So we have all the components from reality uh in the digital form.
Yeah, I think so too. I think like the one of the things that's going to be I would be an easy way to flex is to they'll allow you to buy like in game or even like metaverse specific like ways of buying access to the actual metaverse or game or whatever, but being able to bring along with you some of the open chain stuff that you can sign the message and prove that you own, I think it'd be you know uh pretty cool
Yeah,
for your home base or whatever it is.
yeah.
I mean, imagine like an open standards for some of those digital objects too, where you could buy like a car and have it know that it would populate in any game that adheres to this like open standard thing. I mean, that would be cool too.
Yeah, we will see. We will
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've chatted a bunch about, I mean, the market where you kind of see things going. Are there any projects that you're especially bearish on during this bear market.
Well, uh, yeah, everything in the top 10 of OpenSea is going like everything is going to zero. Just yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like it is basically over. I think in 3-4 months it's all over, and then we have like a cleansed out space, cleansed out NFT space, and then the fundamentals will shine in a bright light through the shadows of ignorance. And yeah, it's just right now. I mean, it's summer. Go outside and have fun and spend time with family and friends and do some sports and enjoy the time before the big storm arrives again.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that, again, while we're in the bear, so I think NFT Relics is probably the biggest vintage vintage community for dedicated to vintage NFTs. And
Yeah,
there's only, I would
the
hazard to
only
guess
one.
there's only like what, 25, 30, 40 people that are active. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I mean, I think a lot of people are just also just there to read,
yeah.
but yeah, I think 100 people are active. Actually, like when
Yeah,
I
okay. So
when I dropped the card,
mhm,
the access card,
mhm.
I dropped like 100 or 80 or something. So yeah, but yeah, it's the only actually the only community left, right? All the other people have resorted to other stuff, right? To ordinals, to this BRC20 stuff,
Yeah.
ETH inscriptions or whatever, right? So like there's a new stuff coming out every month or so under a new name, and people who are very like enthusiastic but were also back then already have been like criticized for their behavior. um they are now like completely into this new stuff and not into the old stuff and like at all, which is also very good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would have to say that I guess in alignment with what you're talking about, if I was just thinking to myself, like what do I think is like not just deserved, but will probably end up going to zero. And it's like the ordinal token things, the BRC20s. That is it's insanely dumb. I don't understand like how people are well, anyway, it's a hype thing. I would be surprised if anyone's touching those in, you
Yeah,
know, 6 months, let alone a year or two or three or whenever the next time we do one of these is. But it's just like, it's just another narrative that people are getting hyped on. But like that's gonna be ugly for people who dump too much money into that.
yeah, but yeah, back to economic Darwinism, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you
You deserve it. You deserve to lose it, right? And you deserve
you
to
you
win it.
you buy it for the price you deserve and you sell it for
Yes,
the price
yes.
you deserve.
Yeah, this Mooncat Maxi actually said this. So credit where credit is due. Like
Oh,
he said it, yeah.
that's a great one. Yeah, I really like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. He said everyone will buy Mooncats at the price he deserves to buy it. Yeah, it's awesome. Like he's also very. I met him in Tallinn,
Oh yeah, how was that?
Estonia. Oh, it was like NFT Tallinn was a little bit empty. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. Maybe it's because it's Estonia, right? But it was
Mhm.
it was a fun trip, and yeah, we saw BitBoy
Oh,
Crypto.
no way.
Yeah, yeah. He's like he looks so funny in real life. He's like I think he looks like he never did any sport in his life.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it is sad that that an organizer give give someone like him like an actual stage, right?
Yeah, because he's not
This is
even
cool.
he's transparently a scammer. He doesn't even
Yes,
really hide it,
yes,
you know.
yes, yes. Exactly. He's transparently a scammer. Yeah, and yeah, but I mean, it was good. It was all right. I don't regret going there. Um, uh, the only the only other event I'm planning for this year is the castle party, the crypto art castle party. In
Oh, that
September.
sounds fun.
Yeah, it's also from Trevor Jones. I was there last year. I already said it, I think. And this year it will be 3 days instead of just one night. So
Oh,
we will
okay.
have, yeah, he rents out an entire castle or like a chateau or something, and
Mhm.
it will be awesome because all like there only will be quality people, right? It's guaranteed. It's like the depth of bear market. There will only be quality people.
Yeah, totally. You're
Yeah,
like this to still be around. You can't be, um, you can't be, you know, half-assing it. You have to be pretty dedicated to stick with it at this point.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, is are they doing another one of the Barcelona? Was it Barcelona they did last
Yeah,
year? The
Barcelona.
Are they doing that again?
No, I don't think that they will do it this year,
Uh-huh.
but maybe next year or something. I
Yeah, I was
think
bummed that I cut that one. That one
yeah,
sounds really cool.
yeah, that was probably the best like event ever. And but they plan to do it, but they don't want to do it like high frequently because then all the magic gets
Mhm.
lost, right? So, but yeah, we will see. Maybe I will do an event as well in the next bull run. Like I really want to do one,
That'd
but
be fun.
I never did anything. I never organized anything. I have no idea. No idea. I have to hire probably some people who will help me because I have absolutely no idea how to do it, and I'm also very lazy in that regard. I hate to plan and everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
even if you could, that would be one thing where it'd probably make probably be worth it to pay someone to handle all that
yes,
for you.
yes, yes, like professionally and everything,
Mhm.
and like, but it would be very awesome. I like all the guys, meeting all the guys as well in real life. I think it will be awesome, like a family reunion. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
gonna be. I can't wait to see the salt from the people that
that
faded
faded.
and were
Yes,
hating on space next
yes,
time, man.
yes.
Well, it's gonna be great. Well, yeah, well, yeah, it sounds like fun. Well, maybe next time we record, we'll be at the at your at the NFT Relics party.
That would be awesome. Yeah, somewhere in Amsterdam or something, right?
Well,
Yeah.
if we wait till the next bull market, maybe we're pulling up in Lambos or something.
Yeah, maybe with mooncats on it, all
Yeah,
colors.
have a custom wrapped Lambo with moon cats.
Yes, yes. Man, that would be awesome. I would drive
I
it.
know,
I would
man. That would
drive
be
it.
actually a pretty sick flex.
Yes, yes.
Well, cool. Well, I certainly. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about before anything else that came up to talk about before we call it a day?
I think I think we went through everything, right?
I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So,
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate you having me having joined me today.
thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, a pleasure as always, man.
Yes. So we see each other again. We talk to each other again. And yeah.